everybody, and welcome back to the HOG-POD, and welcome to the last of the series for the week that was. We tried this out a few weeks ago. It's gone down really, really well, and is obviously very heavily reliant on things happening week by week by week. And as we'll discuss later on in the show here, it looks like it's all starting to wind itself back up to the winter standings. With me, as normal, is Benjamin.
Hello. Good evening, Kenny. Nice to see you.
Good to see you. And before we go any further, can we just discuss what's behind you? What's happened there? That looks like the absolute dog's nuts. And for anyone listening in, there's going to be a description of this as we go along. But there's been a bit of a glow up there, Ben.
There has a little bit, yeah. And believe it or not, it actually started at about 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon, because my ADHD brain decides it's a brilliant idea to tear my study apart on a Sunday when I'm busy all day, and we've booked in to record tonight, which is Monday. So yeah, painting till 2 o'clock, and then got all that sorted, went to work today, got home, and trying to find all the right sort of knickknacks, fill the gap, dress the space. And I'm really pleased with myself. I'm actually super chuffed. I've been really jealous looking at your screen for long enough, because I just sit with a curtain to hide my clutter, and I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah, I have to say, it really does look like a piece of art. So you've got loads going on behind you here. Talk us through some of it, would you? Because that's not just all random stuff, is it?
No, so it's sort of a collection. I'll move slightly out the way and drop that so you can see a bit more. So my workout, the mirrored hand. The blocks at the top that you see, that obviously spell my name, if you rotate those in different ways, they say Dad, and they have pictures of me and my kids that my son made for my Father's Day. I've got a Bell bullet helmet over there, which I can't wear anymore, but it's absolutely stunning with Heart Luck, having done the design. That is a HJC helmet that fell off a wall not long after me buying it, and I really like that as well, so I haven't thrown that away either. I've got this in the middle, which is a helmet hanger, but he's actually called Herman, because my wife got me that as a present. So he's come out the hall and come and joined me. And another one of my helmets, another helmet. I used to have a thing with shoes. I've swapped it from shoes to helmets, apparently. And then lurking there's one last helmet that is cool, but I'm just not a full-face fan. So it works as a bookend. And I'm possibly one of the only people with a full carbon fibre, full-faced helmet holding books up.
Well, I'll tell you what, I have to say, obviously, I've been looking at the behind you since we started. People that are listening in probably won't make much of a difference to you, but if you're watching, mate, 10 out of 10. That's the absolute dog's nuts. And you see you got a couple of microphones there as well. Little microphone.
I do, yeah. So I actually used to gig with those. I don't know what the proper name is. There'll be a proper name for them. I call them Cadillac mics because they look like the sort of grill on the old Cadillacs when you see the front of them. They're just an iconic microphone, aren't they? Not quite as fancy as the kit that we now use, but still good-looking bit of equipment, I guess.
Yeah, fair play. Now,
and the guard taking a pee. Who doesn't love a guardsman having a pee up a wall?
Yes. He would be flayed for that if he was caught. But when a man's got to go, a man's got to go. Ben, that is one hell of a glow up, my man. And fair play to you. So I'm now looking what's behind me. And I thought I had a decent little setup with fancy lights and all. But I accept your challenge. I accept your terms. And there will be a glow up in this room.
Typical me, though. Do all of this just before the last episode of this series, so we're going to have to carry on because I need to make the most of it.
Yeah, well, we are obviously this is the last of the series for the week that was, but it doesn't mean it's the end of the podcast for this year. On the contrary, actually, loads and loads coming up. We'll come back to that. I think the only difference on my side is I'm using Starlink. I know you've had a couple of worries whenever we've been recording because I've turned into a pixelated mess on the screen. One of the joys of living in the arse end of nowhere over in Northern Ireland, my nearest communication tower is about 3 days away. So I got myself Starlink.
I can't get over the speeds that you've been talking about with that. I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal what you've been saying.
Yeah, so again, not an advert for Starlink because I'm not associated, we're not commercial, and I absolutely wouldn't be connected to Elon Musk if I'm perfectly honest. However, necessity is that I need a good internet, and Starlink is giving me anywhere between 300 and 400 megabytes plus, and I've been operating on 40 when the sun shines, so made an absolute difference in the house. Every every device, everything's working super duper fast, which is absolutely brilliant. And the only thing is I had to pay £1,800 to get 3 goats fenced in because they were trying to go through the cable. So you can get these ridge mounts that go on top of the peak roof, and it's a weighted ballast.
Yeah.
So that is ordered. It's on its way to me. But the goats came straight over to the cable and thought, fantastic, we'll chew through £140 worth of cable. So to save £140 in cable, I spent £1,800 on fencing. But there we go. We now have penned up goats, and I'm not getting freshly laid goat dung every morning as from 3 free-range goats. People are always quite surprised when they hear that I keep goats, but I'll put some pictures up here. One of them looks like he's the son of the devil, and the other 2 are actually little twin boys who have never been separated. And when I was looking for 1 extra goat to keep my goat company, I ended up getting 2 because I'm a mug. I think before you've called me Dr. Doolittle or Noah.
Or Noah.
Yeah, one of the 2.
Yeah, rains a lot in Ireland.
But there we go. So a bit of a glow up on both sides, but yours absolutely wins, hands down, Ben. Fair play to you. In fact, what we'll do is we'll get some pictures of the new background up onto our social channels. So hopefully you would have seen them before you listen to this. So this is it, Ben. The last of the week that was for 2025. Anyway, I know we started a little bit late in the season, but there was a big weekend just gone, which marks the end, doesn't it?
I think it does. I think unless you're going to go outside the boundaries of the UK, I think that is rallies put away for the winter, isn't it?
Yeah.
Chuck a couple of mothballs at them, put them somewhere safe. Don't remember where they are in the spring.
Yeah. Did you see any pictures from the weekend?
I did, yeah. Saw quite a few pictures, actually. So, Jersey, that looked phenomenal. And actually, I've never properly paid attention to it, I suppose. And I think when you're made aware of it, you start looking for things, don't you? And the amount of posts going up on Facebook, we were met at the boat, we were taken to our campsite, we felt like VIPs. And it'd be the sort of thing as if you weren't aware of it, it would just go by you, wouldn't it? Mm-hmm. Oh, cool, yeah, that's grand. And then you're aware of what it is. So there's quite a few people that I follow on Facebook and talk to and things like that have all said they've had a brilliant time. And it does sound fantastic, actually. And see even something, and I guess it's not simple, because I was thinking about that as well, the logistics behind working out when everybody, yes, it's a boat, and it comes at set times, but the logistics of working out who's going to be there and making sure there's someone there to meet them, that's definitely... these aren't just any biscuits; these are M&S biscuits sort of territory, isn't it? That's a cut above.
That's a real 2 rallies editor. That's a real
producer. We need one of those as well, by the way. So we need an editor and a producer. If anyone's writing our Christmas lists, and Kenny needs some more lights because he's now jealous of mine. The other 2, so the Concorsum, look good. There was some good pictures kicking about, seeing people turning up. I believe there's a lady dressed as R2-D2 in one of the pictures that I saw. The dress was fantastic. I'm not sure if they had a theme for that night or it was just an enthusiastic rally goer, but either which way, that was a cracking outfit. And the Welsh Dragon folks, that looked like they're having fun. Looked like a good group of folks. You could feel, well, you couldn't feel anything. Talking out my backside. Looking at the picture, you got the impression that folks are having a good time from it. So, yeah, hopefully we might hear from them. They might reach out to us, let us know how they went and how it got on. And I'm sure if not, we're both at Rock in October. So we will doubtless, maybe with some espresso martinis involved, catch up with Paul and Steve and Cass.
Yeah.
If she's not still running parts to and from the mainland.
That's
on
right.
a little
Yes.
cargo boat.
Yeah, being deployed at night time with boys around it to find it with the canoes coming to collect it. Yeah, obviously that was the triple bill that we talked about last week. Bittersweet, really. Great that everyone had a ball. Great that they all took place. But that's another year done, isn't it? 2025. It was a decent enough year. I don't know about you, but I certainly didn't get to as many rallies as I wanted to, but I broke a lot of ground. I broke my duck at a couple of events which I hadn't been to before, not least my own rally. But I think now all eyes will be pointing towards 2026. So as promised, if you keep an eye on the HOG-POD website, then all of the tickets that are now available for rallies in 2026, all of the rallies will be updated, the map will be updated, all the links to buy tickets, like a one-stop shop really for all of your plans for 2026. And for those of you that go to ROC, look forward to planting the stickers on the big map at the back of the room to plant our flags for next year. But also in the rear...
Technically, that's 2 firsts.
What's that?
2 firsts. So you attended your own chapter's rally this year, and you were invited onto your own podcast. Hopefully they were both as enjoyable as an experience.
That is true. 2 firsts. Yeah, I'll take that indeed. Yeah. That was actually one of the easiest nights ever for me because... see, when you're having to worry about the introduction, particularly when you haven't written anything down in advance, and the outro when you haven't written down anything in advance and you have to wing it, which, let's be honest, Ben, is pretty much what we do on a week-by-week basis anyway. So, yeah, it was a nice, easy night for me. So, yeah, 2 firsts. I was a guest on my own podcast and went to my own rally. So I'm going to take those as big wins for 2025. Obviously, our rally season, as in me and thee, isn't over, but we'll come back to that. I know we've mentioned it briefly before, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on. The Road Captain training took place this weekend as well over on the Emerald Isle, which was great to see. I never went to myself. I'll be honest with you. I've no interest in being a road captain. The idea of everybody following me gives me heart palpitations. I will be doing everything I could to lose them at roundabouts. In fact, me and Mark would often joke around because he said, "Oh, would you not go for it?" I said, "Mate, I would show up at the first stop and you would say to me, 'Where is everyone?' And I'd be like, 'They were following me, but it's all right. I lost them at the roundabout.' I just couldn't cope with it." But Mark was down at the training. Obviously, the directors, John, Rab and Michael, were there helping out Gordy, who by all accounts had put on another fantastic show at the weekend, and they covered nearly 400 miles doing the Road Captain training. That's a lot of miles.
That is a lot of miles when you think about it, isn't it? But that's probably indicative of the number of people that were there in attendance. And am I right in saying that's the first time it's been held in Ireland, or just the first time in a while? So
I don't actually know the answer to that. Part of me thinks it's actually the first time ever, but so as I don't upset anybody, I'm going to be wrong and say I think it's just been the first time in a while. I don't think there's ever been any resistance to it. I know Gordy loves it over here, and who doesn't want to come and ride the bike in Ireland? Bit unfortunate with the weather this year. It was biblical at points, I believe, certainly on the way down. Never asked actually how the weather treated them, but they did 400 miles in it, come wind, rain or sun. And I was bombarded with photographs, can I say, because I know she's listening. Rachel and Jade, thank you very much for the picture upon picture upon picture of people drinking the angry Nesquiks. And Ben, you'll be pleased to know that Gordy is now a convert. I have a couple of pictures. I have a few pictures, in fact, of Gordy with particularly Rachel and Jade with a wee angry Nesquik in their hands. So you can be...
No good story starts with a cup of tea, does it?
No good story starts with a cup of tea. Plenty of good stories start with an angry Nesquik. I suspect that in a matter of weeks in ROC, there will be a wee revisit to that and a bit of an angry Nesquik reunion.
Let's hope they've got the stocks in place, ready to go. That's your warning, Tequila Rose. Get it ready.
I am going to bring my own.
Just in case.
I am going to bring my
Break
own.
in case of emergency.
Yeah, break glass. And particularly if there's a little private soiree with a few selected members, then it'd be an absolute crying shame if the bar staff turned around and went, "Oh, what is this tequila rose?" I beg your pardon. You call yourself a bar?
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to bring a bottle. But just in case there's people listening that aren't involved in HOG, Road Captain Training, probably best explain what that is. So whenever you see large groups of Harleys out, you'll always see people at the front and at the back, and people, you may have even driven past bikes where they've got a guy with his hand up pointing left or pointing right or pointing straight on. Ever wondered what he's doing? Well,
I've broken down.
Yeah, he's actually calling for help and you've just driven on. Yeah. We use a system called the drop-off, where if you're behind the lead man, you'll get told to wait somewhere and direct everybody else. And then the last man, which is a guy in high vis as well, picks you up and off you go, and it cycles through, just in case, because obviously we take it for granted. But, I've been out on non-Harley rides with large groups of people, the Distinguished Gentleman's ride, as an example. If I'm honest, I don't know how there's not accidents.
Yeah. So I think they do have marshals, so they get halfway there, don't they? And I do think they've obviously planned their route and they've gone around and they've done their job properly. I just don't think there's quite the same formality, but then doing it once a year in comparison to doing it every weekend, you probably do things slightly differently, don't you? I've been on one for definite, and I've witnessed a couple of other Distinguished Gentlemen's rides, and I think they do. In the main, the ones that I've seen anyway, they seem to have their shit together, if you will. They might be doing it by the seat of their pants, which will be a very fashionable, well-tailored pair of pants. But yeah, they seem to, and I think they actually get given a guide. I think if you're the organizer, DGR give you that sort of instruction, and quite often, certainly in my experience, it's been HOG members that have been on the ride that end up as a marshal and then go on to help. So I think it's almost organically factored into what's happening.
Yeah, again, I think we take it for granted, don't we? That we know that we shouldn't be overtaking. Yeah. We know that we have to stagger as opposed to riding side by side or, front wheel to back wheel. But
are we still talking about the bikes when you say we have to stagger, or are we talking about the angry Nesquik?
We are talking about the bikes.
Good. No angry Nesquik when you're getting on your bike.
That stuff doesn't make me stagger for some reason.
See, when we go on our little adventure on the subject of Nesquik, I found a chocolate variant that I will introduce you to when we get to Gozo.
I always tick the expletive free box when I upload this, but get the fuck out of here. A chocolate one.
Yeah, chocolate one. I think they do a watermelon one as well.
Oh, Rachel's nearly crashed the car. Jay doesn't want to be at work anymore. She's leaving.
Yeah, we just like charter an entire flight or bring them all over.
Yeah, we'll have to try those variants. Absolutely.
Yeah,
but as it all gets put down to the magic of the Road Captain. So Mark came back. I did speak with him briefly. He was absolutely battered, knackered. Apparently, it's intensive enough. It's not wishy-washy. The training, it seems to be pretty thorough. But they all seem to have had a good time. The photos are great, the official photos, and then the ones that were getting spammed to my phone at midnight and 11 o'clock and 11:30, all by the non-riders, presumably.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like, looking at it, that Road Captain's role is one that's quite often underestimated, isn't it? So you've said there they've done 400 miles at the weekend. Think about how many additional miles your Road Captains are doing. So they recce the route to start off with, i.e. they plan it, they have a think about it, and they can then, there's several ways in which they can recce it, but then they do have to ride it. There's no choice in that. They have to go out and do that ride before they take all of us out on that ride. So there in itself is double the mileage straight away. There's so much extra stuff. And I think because we're used to Road Captains being quite slick and they're good at what they do, you just turn up, you go on your ride, you don't really factor into it. They've already done this. And like you said about the weather, they've possibly done it in crap weather because they've got a set amount of time to get these rides done. it's definitely a role that's underestimated, and you don't fully get it unless you've done it or been involved in the road crew and seen it. So, like, hats off to these guys and girls that have turned up this weekend. And that's the other thing as well, isn't it? They've given up their weekend, and it's not a rally. It's not. They're still going to have fun, because we always have fun when we all get together. But it's
not a jolly
weekend given up for training. No.
Yeah, and they use their own bikes as well. So, you know, that's all the miles put onto their own bikes. They've had to get there and back. Now, I think it was down in Portlaoise, which was actually where not this year's Irish Tri Chapter, but the previous year's Tri Chapter was held. So,
right, okay,
it's a decent enough run down there, plus the miles that were done, and then coming home as well. But yeah, as Ben says, fair play to anyone that is a road captain. Fair play to everyone that was there this weekend, and anyone that is considering being a road captain. It's a tough enough weekend by the sounds of it, but well worth it. And then, of course, you have the weight of expectation on your shoulders then for the delivery afterwards of leading the rides and making sure everybody's happy. And as we all know, whenever there are large groups of people, you can't keep everybody happy. You just have to keep most of them happy most of the time. But so yeah, there we go. That's the rear view mirror, and I'm sad to say, nearly the last one for this year. Might be a couple of things happening across the year, but certainly rally related and motorcycle related here in the UK and Ireland. Anyway, that's kind of it. We should do a minute's silence, Ben. Yeah. I think that's a minute.
I've still got my socks on, so I can't count above 10. Before we do start looking forwards, Kenny, I'm making a bit of a habit in this series of having to correct myself in the future. So past me gets a slap on the wrists. The fabulous Mrs. McIntyre, Margot, met me at the weekend. So we had our open house event. Obviously, it was going on all over the UK. I was at West for ours, and she was saying that she'd listened to the podcast. And Jim thanked me for the mention. He thoroughly enjoyed being called out on HOG-POD, so that was cool. But Margot was like, just to let you know, Ben, that big bit of rock that we were talking about, and I'd called it Isla Craig, so I apologise. And I'm sorry I've had to repeat myself and hurt ears. But apparently, and I might still mess this up, Ailsa Craig is what it should be called. Looking at the spelling, it sort of makes sense. So I quickly text Margot this evening, and I was like, excuse my horrendous phonetics, but this is the way my brain works. And I sent her a little message that said, ale as in beer, -S-A, Craig. And she said, absolutely, all in one word. So, Ailsa Craig.
So I know you made me edit it out at the time, but I did say that to you whenever you were talking about it.
You did. Absolutely, Kenny. Do you want to just like poke that nose back in?
Top Ben.
Yes, but I'm making good. Do you know what I mean? The one thing, and I always say it, I'll own what I put out in the universe, and if I need to, I'll apologise for it. So sorry, Margot.
You've made progress because you had to put out 2 apologies once, and now you've only got to put out 1 apology. So
yeah, I'm getting better.
That is progress, isn't it?
Yes.
So next on the agenda here, I think, is what is happening up in Bonnie, Scotland. It's always something happening in Scotland, Ben, and you are the Scottish correspondent for HOG-POD. So Dunedin have formally announced their adoption by West Coast.
Yes.
Can you give us a bit about that, can you?
Yeah. So obviously you're aware, or probably everybody's aware, Edinburgh Harley Davidson closed down earlier in the year, and there's been questions, I suppose, or thoughts about what the future of Dunedin was. There was talks of orphan chapters. Obviously, that's a thing in the UK. It's not a thing around the rest of the world, oddly.
No.
So was that the route for Dunedin to go, or finding a sponsor and dealer, which obviously when you only have one in the country that you reside in, that you don't have the huge amount of choices, is I suppose what I'm saying. Interestingly, what I didn't realise, actually, this isn't the first time. West Coast have stepped in and helped before, so Dunedin have actually lost their dealer. I think it's up to 3 times. And West Coast have stepped in at those times and provided support. So it seemed like a natural sort of progression at that point. And I think where we're at with orphan chapters in the UK, they're growing in number, aren't they? So having the safety of a sponsoring dealer. I think orphan chapters do a phenomenal job, and I am not trying to put any fear or start any rumours, but I think you are safer having a sponsoring dealer. So well done to West Coast for putting out that hand, and also well done to Dunedin for accepting it. There's a definite east-west divide sometimes when you come up to Scotland, particularly between Edinburgh and Glasgow. So crossing that border, extending that olive branch to one another, not that they'd ever fallen out, but you know what I'm trying to say. Yeah, well done. And it's exciting. I think it's going to be certainly something to watch. So West Coast now have 3 chapters that they are sponsoring. You have the 2 up here, Dunedin and Clyde Valley. Obviously, Clyde Valley being the primary chapter, or the first chapter. Primary probably puts a suggestion of power. That isn't the case. That's not what I'm saying. What I mean is, obviously, Clyde Valley were West Coast chapter to start off with. So Clyde Valley, Dunedin, and Red Rose down in the Lake District. So it's a busy old dealership these days.
It is indeed. I think what you're trying to say is Clyde Valley and West Coast. West Coast would be the mother lodge of Clyde Valley.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the reference. I'm just going to stop digging.
Yeah, so 3 chapters in one dealership. Fair play to West Coast, because they will each bring their own requirements, challenges, gripes and moans and all that kind of stuff. But I suppose as well, it also brings 3 chapters worth of footfall to the dealership.
And that's the thing, isn't it? You've got to think sensibly. I mean, we've had these conversations. It is not an easy economy to be a motorbike dealer in general, but then narrow that margin of who you're selling down to even smaller to Harley Davidson. We are a niche. We're a corner in the market, aren't we? You've got to do something different. You've got to think outside the box to keep yourself afloat. So, yeah, hats off to Don and Dave along at West for having the foresight to make that offer, I guess.
Yeah, fair play. Obviously, location-wise, West Coast. I'm trying to look at my geography of Glasgow here. Even with Edinburgh Harley, people that were originally with Edinburgh Harley still could have had to have travelled miles and miles and miles, couldn't they?
Yes, yeah. So you had people way up north. So the director, for instance, Craig Stewart, he was travelling from Forfar, and I think I've reading on a couple of his posts, I think it's maybe about a 10-minute difference because he was having to come down. Now he just comes down at an angle. So that impacts a lot of people. There's a big contingent of Dunedin is well north of Edinburgh, like very north of Edinburgh. So I think for a lot of them, there will be a difference in travel. For me, I think it was about a 20-minute difference between getting from my house to EHD or getting from my house to West. And actually nicer roads for me. And I think that makes a big difference. I've now got a choice of 3 bridges, or I can go straight along the motorway or duck out into the countryside. So I'm happy with West.
Yeah, I am absolutely spoiled with my dealership, because what I can do is I can go out my house, I can hold my breath, and as long as I don't stop at one set of traffic lights, I can pretty much make the dealership before my breath starts to fail me. As a result, those poor guys in there are frequently bothered by me coming in. Janice, bless her, she's an absolute honey. Do you want a wee coffee, Kenny? I'll take a wee coffee. Yeah, thanks very much. So yeah, it's one of those ones, isn't it? If you're in Scotland, or rather, if you're in Dunedin now, as Ben says, yeah, congratulations for accepting the offer. There's it is a unique thing, I think, for the UK and Ireland, because in Europe, the chapter would have just been dissolved,
not
through anything other than that's the mechanism. And I know that they've worked, and maybe HOG doesn't get enough credit for it, that they've worked very, very hard to make sure that chapters aren't being rolled up just because dealerships are. As you've said, it's probably good that you have a sponsoring dealership if you're in a HOG chapter, but with the many chapters out there that will prove us otherwise, you don't have to have a dealership, but it's nice to have a base, isn't it? It's nice to have a base. And, you see the orphan dealerships that don't use a dealership, maybe because it's not near them, or they've just decided not to go and affiliate to another one. They usually adopt a bar, or they adopt a coffee shop, or they adopt some venue, which is obviously far better for the local economy. So there you go. There's always something happening in Scotland. It's nice to have a Scottish correspondent up there, actually, because it's a little bit detached for me.
Yeah, I think what you're saying there, though, and I need to stop saying I think. I start a lot of sentences with that, and a friend of mine pointed it out the other day. Not I think. I know. You'll have the best of both worlds with that, with Dunedin. So obviously looking at the geographical area that Dunedin covers, yes, they've got a sponsoring dealership, so they have that sort of official Harley home, but the space that Dunedin covers is massive. So you'll still put that boost back into the economy. Before the dealership shut, we would meet at the dealership on a Saturday. Every second Saturday, we had a thing called Saddle Up Saturday. Again, credit where credit's due. That was Craig's little sort of brainchild, I suppose, and got it off the ground. But we also had weekly meets at local pubs. So break down that bigger geographical area into smaller spaces. That's not going to stop. So you'll still have that continue and carry on. And I think in terms of, Dunedin comes with its own challenges, doesn't it? And they're not bad challenges. That's the thing about it. Dunedin having the numbers it rocked up with. You're talking 400 plus members overnight. Your smaller chapters, and they are doing a really, really good job. I want to say that at this point. The orphan chapters are doing a phenomenal job in keeping themselves going, keeping themselves vibrant. But I don't think size-wise there wasn't the same comparison. It was this big beast, wasn't it? Or is this big beast with the size of membership that was rocking up. So for HOG to take that on as well, because obviously HOG becomes the same part that your sponsoring dealer would. Could HOG have the resources and the time to deal with 450 people wanting to talk to them about enthusiasts not having the right thing, your pin turning up late, or other things that they might want to discuss with a sponsoring dealer? Who knows? I don't, because I wasn't involved in the chats. As I said previously, there are certain things above my pay grade or knowledge base, and that was one of them. I'm surmising big numbers, lots of challenges. So well done. Looking forward to seeing what three chapters in one dealer looks like. I think Leeds can give us a bit of a highlight to that. They've been doing it for a while. I think it can only be good things. There'll be teething troubles. There'll be a couple of squabbles, hopefully not very many, and they can all be resolved quickly. But I think strength in numbers. I said it the other day, look outside your chapter, not in. And if you can bring that organically together already, then happy days for that.
Looking forward, before we go on to Bike of the Week, we'll wrap up on Bike of the Week. It's one of my favourite bits. Got an absolute belter this week as well, a little bit of nostalgia for me. I'm absolutely delighted with my find. But we've obviously got ROC coming up very, very shortly. And I say we because I believe that you are now confirmed as going. You've got your leave slip. High commanders agreed, and you are bombs away.
And I haven't had to trade in too many favours or beg too many times. I think Alison's quite looking forward to a weekend away from me, particularly given that the weekend that Rock falls on, we're actually flying out to Washington. So she's stuck with me in a plane for several hours and then can't escape my company for 2 weeks thereafter. So yes, I am looking forward to Rock. Should be good fun. Us going together, HOG-POD being there, looking forward to that as well. So that'll be different in a good way.
Yeah, looking forward to it as well. Really looking forward to it. I know we spoke about it sort of previously, so I don't want to labour it, but I do want to say something that we are going to. We've mentioned it briefly before. Malta, baby. Malta baby. And we have gained a new recruit. So there are 3 of us going to the Malta rally. There's myself, there's Ben, and then there's Mark McManus, Mark from the Belfast chapter. And we have a new recruit, which is our friend Jermud from Black Death Photography. He has come on board. I think Ben was saying he felt they were a little bit vulnerable going to Malta. So he wanted some security, and Jermud is it.
And I love you and Mark dearly, but he is a unit in comparison. I think if we had like a baggage allowance, we're using the spare that Mark brings to take him along with us. So we're all good. So
true story. I was a boxer for years. Jermud was a boxer as well, very capable boxer. And I had the pleasure, unfortunate pleasure, mispleasure of sparring with Jermud quite a few times. And if you've ever wondered what it's like to get jabbed in the face by an oak tree, then what you need to do is spar Jermud for even just a minute. He is an absolute handful in the ring, but he's a big gentle bear, really. And we are absolutely delighted to have him on board. Getting so excited about Malta, baby. Can't wait.
And he will be listening, won't he?
He will be, yes. He'll be in the car right now.
Good. We spoke earlier. Yes, you have invited yourself on our trip, but you're more than bloody welcome. So thank you for coming along, my friend.
He's absolutely winding you up, Jermud. It was me that invited you. No, he's a great addition, and I believe we're going to have to order or hire an extra convertible Fiat 500. So the Wolf Runa guys are really going to think that we are doing the Italian job on the island of Malta.
Well, you see, you said that, and I'm sure Kev said the same, but they weren't Fiat 500s. The Italian job was done in Minis.
Yes, it was, but can we hire a Mini?
A classic Mini, not easily. You could get the new variant, like the BMW Mini, but I still want to have my little soft-top Ferrari because they were built in the same factory at one point in life.
Right. Did you know as well that Fiat, the mother company that owns Fiat, are the largest producer of landmines in the world?
I thought you were going to go with the jolly fact, because no, I didn't know that. But also, every single vehicle on the world has at least one component made by Fiat. I thought that's where we were going, not death, maiming.
Yeah, just a little insight into my broken little mind.
Yeah.
So, largest producer of landmines on the planet. I didn't realise that every car has something from Fiat in it. That would explain why every car at some point breaks down.
Fix it again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Your fact's almost as jolly as mine. So I thought I got it bad last time talking about James Dean's Porsche.
That's right, yes.
Yeah, because my brain went into that little cul-de-sac and thought, I've got information that I'm going to share, and I know about parts of vehicles. Telling Jim Hamilton that his bike he's going to be building in the future might try and kill him. I absolutely wasn't. That wasn't what I meant. And then you come out with landmines.
So, interesting fact from Jermud, Malta, as in all of it, as an entire no-fly zone for drones.
Oh.
Yeah, which is a bit of a gutter because obviously I've started looking at what I'm going to take with me, which is very, very little, but equipment is going to be one of them because I know we're going to be recording in Malta. We're going to record a podcast from Malta as well as do a YouTube video, but it is an entire no-fly zone. I didn't even think to check. It's actually Jermud that said to me, because I said to him, make sure you bring your drone, because he's all excited because he's waiting for the Mini 5. It's just been announced. It's coming out on the 17th of September, which is actually in a couple of days. In fact, it's out today. Nice. It is out today. The Mini 5 is out today. Jermud is probably listening to this as he drives to the shop to go and get it, actually, because he's like a kid at Christmas. But anyway, he's done the check, and you can't fly a drone in Malta. So you can, if you jump through about 5 or 6 different hoops, which I think he is gonna try and do, so we can get at least one bird up. But yeah, there you go. If you ever go to Malta, don't bother taking a drone unless you
Don't do it.
Yeah, you just it's all on security grounds, which I suppose, given
there's still quite a lot of military installations in. Well, there's a couple of things, isn't there? So Valletta, the capital, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So obviously they won't want to risk any damage to that. You've got Mdina as well, which is incredible in terms of history. The Grand Harbour was a military installation for a very long time. And not even like the normal very long time conversations that we've had. You're talking way back when to like Knights Templar. There's a hospital on the one arm built by the Hospitallers, which is the sort of medical wing of what was the Knights Templar. So it's been of military importance for a very long time. So I don't imagine actually that it's not still with some level of something happening there. So I could understand why they can't or don't want you flying drones. Does that prevent us, because we have that sardine roof, getting an Insta360 on one of those ridiculously large poles and pretending that we've got a drone?
Yeah, I have been looking at alternatives, and yeah, that might be one.
I'll sit there and go zzz while we drive along.
Well, what I did actually say to Jermud, and he's such a square, I said, would we not just fly it anyway and seek forgiveness? And he was like, no.
But we've got the perfect excuse. Because see, whenever I've been caught for something, I always say the big boy made me do it. And now he's bigger than I am. Not as fat as I am, but bigger in mass. So he's the big boy. He made us do it. So yeah. I say we fly a drone. Have you got a drone, Kenny? I'll fly it and you can point at him. Yeah,
they'll do that. So, Jermud, listen, okay. You've had it officially there from Ben. You didn't invite yourself. There was just a wee break in the audio. Absolutely delighted that you come in. I know Mark's over the moon because I know that Jermud and Mark sort of share the same love of music. So he's absolutely tickled pink. So
they're going in their own Fiat 500 then.
Yeah, they're gonna want to plug God knows what in. So
we're gonna listen to the Nolan Sisters and all sorts of classics,
brass music.
Yes, still can't find Bat Out of Hell.
You've got till Malta. Till Malta. So we are going to be recording an episode directly from Malta, which I'm super excited about, and I'm just dying to see what a rally outside of anything that I've been to. Have you even been to? Oh, you've been to Malta. No, it was Mark I was going to ask. I know you've been there lots of times, but Jermud's never been. I've never been. As far as I'm aware, Mark has never been. So it's going to be a fantastic experience, and I can't wait for the little Malta patch or the little Malta pin that we're going to get, or certainly buy anyway, and bring back, and that will get added to the cut. And what a story that will be.
Mark has one. So, see, when I was apparently downstairs in the Burrendale with my backside out getting a tattoo, which still isn't the case, Kenny. It was nowhere near my bum. We would talk about things, and his dad bought him a pin back from somewhere, and apparently it had a skull on it. So, obviously, Mark, am I allowed to call him Cerberus's puppy dog? Because I nearly put that on the postage that I sent out to him. I thought better of it. So, if Lexi guards the gates of hell, then
he is
Mark
Cerberus.
Or at least Cerberus's handler. So Skulls, right up Mark's alley. And he talking to him at HOG-POD, he's like, I only just checked it the other day and I've realised it's from Malta. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, so he hasn't been. That's right, he hasn't been, because we did sort of discuss it. So, thoroughly excited for that trip. Cannot wait. That is on the weekend starting Friday, the 7th of November, for the Friday, Saturday, and it ends the Sunday. And we are really lucky because we're going to come and stay on the island of Gozo for the day before and the day after the rally. So we'll get to see Malta and Gozo all in one go and record HOG-POD. We're going to go international with HOG-POD.
And you spoke too soon. You said I was doing better because I've only had to make one apology on this episode. I technically do need to make two. So my mom listens, and I'm not very good at putting things in my diary, and had organised to take my mom to go and see her first ever rugby match at Murrayfield. And then this came up, talking away on the phone, super excited, and my mom suddenly went quite quiet, and my dad pointed out that was the same weekend I'm supposed to be taking them to Murrayfield. So, in front of everybody, I would like to apologise to my mom for letting her go to Murrayfield without me. She will be in good company. The Madraskals rugby team and coaches are going, my wife, my children. So she's got a solid escort and my dad. I'm actually, as much as I'm looking forward to Malta, a little bit jealous. It's Scotland versus the All Blacks. So if there was ever a match
that you want to
miss,
see, it's that one. Well, we are privileged that you picked us over your mother, Ben.
Let's not go there. That's not quite how that happened, Kenny. Stop it.
That is not going to be cut either. I'm going to leave that one in. In fact, there might be a double edit by accident. You picked us over your mother. You picked us over your mother. You picked us over your mother.
Thanks.
Okay, so that is what we've got looking forward to over the next little while. Anyone from the Wolf Runa that's listening, chances are you're going, because there's about 35 of those lot, is there?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it's a massive contingent. I'm looking forward to seeing Flower. Hello, Flower. It's been a while.
Yes. And a thank you to Gav. So you and Mark should have received them by this point as well. At Thunder, we all received. So not only have we been allowed into their Facebook group, we also have a lovely Wolf Runa patch, like a support patch, I suppose, that we can put on our cuts, which is cool.
Thank you very much for that.
You.
Yeah, we've definitely been adopted for that weekend, and we're looking forward to hanging out with the Wolf Runa guys. Right, so we'll move on to the last part of the show then, for the last part of the last show, Bike of the Week.
Yes.
I am absolutely over the moon about the one I found, because it brings back a little memory. So, my bike of the week is a Sportster 72, and what a peach it is as well. And I say it brings back a bit of nostalgia is because I used to own a 72. I had it in black hard candy, which is the black with the silver squared metal flake all the way through it. It was stage 1. It was an absolute weapon. Mini apes, of course, big front wheel, just real classic fall back to the chopper era, but factory produced. And this is with Iron City Motorcycles in Leeds. It's on at, I'll do the price straight away because I always forget it, so it's out of the way. Less than $8,500 on the ticket. They've already knocked a little bit off, but let's be honest, if you go in and you're going to want to buy it, you could probably drive them down a little bit more. But it's from it's 2016. It's I'll put pictures up here as always, but if you're listening in, it's black and red. It has red powder coated wheels, but only the rims, the spokes are still silver. Absolute beauty. It's got a tiny little bikini fairing on the headlight, which mine never had, actually. I just had the naked headlight, but it's got the mini apes on it. It's got a high flow filter, and it's got the Gatling gun. It's got the Gatling gun exhaust caps on it as well.
Do they spin?
It looks like it. Obviously, there is a video, but the video just doesn't quite go round to the back. But it's got a real raw stainless sissy bar on it, and it's got one of those spring-mounted seats. It's an absolute peach of a bike. I love that bike, I have to say. Now, it's got the peanut tank, so it isn't one that you're probably going to go out for hours and hours and hours on. It's one that you're going to cruise around looking as cool as get out. Mark, if you're listening, which I know you are because you've got a tiny little tank on your bike as well. Not that we ever mention it, but to be fair to Mark has taken his to the arse end of France. He has done all of the European trips on that bike, and he is currently planning the trip to Cascais for next year.
Cool.
On the bike as well. Unfortunately, he has to fill up every 27.5 miles, but he always gets there. But it's an absolute beauty of a bike. I don't know, have you had a chance to see this one, Ben? I know I didn't share it with you.
I haven't seen that one, but I have seen a 72 in the flesh. So there's a little old chap in Glenrothes that rocks up to a local cafe, and you're right, it just looks, even sat parked, it looks cool. But to return the favour, I believe you were made to sell yours for a utility room, if Lisa's listening. Yes,
I was made to sell mine.
Are we
for a
double
utility
editing
room.
that, Kenny?
No, we'll probably leave that in
Lisa
as well.
made you sell it. Lisa made you sell it. Lisa made you sell it.
Twat.
Sorry, High Command. Don't get me in trouble. It was Kenny.
Now, to be fair, just so I can regain some of my masculinity here, I was given the option of which bike I sold to pay for a utility room. And it was quite a few years ago now. So it just wouldn't happen today.
I'll tell you something that'll make you feel slightly better, Kenny. So I thought I got sent away for the snip because we were done having children. Transpires, I kept buying Harleys while my wife was pregnant, and she eventually said that was the deciding factor.
There you go. But it's
so not only have I trumped you with the background, I've trumped you with that story too.
At least we are men in our own right, Ben, and that's how it should be. And what this 72 has on the oil cover, which I love, is "Go fast, don't die." And I know that you're not allowed to have any sort of, you're not even allowed the word "die" on your bike or your person or your helmet, are you?
No. Ali thinks it's tempting fate. That's that. Simple as.
So I will put a link in the descriptions if you're listening, or if you're watching, you're looking at the bike as we speak. You'll agree it's an absolute perler, and it's the price as well. So it's 2016, and it's less than 8.5. No doubt you'll be able to drive that a little bit more as well. I think that is a fantastic price for a Harley, and I know we talked about this last week because what took my fancy was the Triumph. Thankfully, as a chronic ADHD brain, I move on very, very fast, and very quickly came to this. 8,500 is not a bad price to get onto a very substantial Harley Davidson.
Yeah, and a cool one.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool from the off. See, while we're talking about little tanks as well.
You need a wee.
No, not at all. No. Did that before. Mark with his little peanut tank. So I ride with a lady called Gillian occasionally, and she's on a brand new Sportster S. And her forward planning is having a husband with a Pan America who carries fuel cans. So when I first saw it, I thought Ricky was carrying the fuel because he seems to have caught that affliction that Pan America riders have, where their bum doesn't touch the seat.
Yes.
At every opportunity, I was like, well, that's going to increase drag, isn't it? Like going through the small glen, and I was tailing the ride, looking at him, like very impressed, but at the same time, I'm like, how do you not fall over? Like, how are you going around all these bends and you're stood? And I think he's probably not far short of, he's a big boy, big boy. So I thought the fuel tank was for him. And then I realized it was chivalry when we got to our final destination. There he was, topping it up, so Gillian didn't have to stop. She also listens, so I thought I'd give her a wee plug in the last week that was.
Fair play. So there we go. That's my bike of the week, a Sportster 72. Go and check it out, even just to have a wee nosy at it. It's an absolute perler of a bike, absolutely beautiful. And again, I think at that price, it won't stick around very long. I did find one previous to picking this one. It was a Heritage, but an absolute cracker. Same guys, same Iron City at Leeds, but deposit taken. So I thought there's no point talking about that one. So go and have a look at this 72. What about you, Ben? I believe you found a bike of yours.
Did that Heritage come with decent pipes though, or was it like the live wire spec?
That's a wrap.
Sorry, I will start being nice to you. And it's a total fib as well. Do you know that? So I didn't quite appreciate how loud your bike was until you started it maybe about 3 feet away from my head at stupid o'clock in the morning when you were escaping Rally from the Valley to get home in time.
That's right, yes. I think I purposely rolled it back so it started in your ear, protected only by a nylon tent. So, have it, Ben, have it. Right, your bike of the week, I believe you've got a perler as well.
Yeah, so sort of sticking with the vintage theme, I have a 2021 Harley Davidson Electroglide, which doesn't sound hugely exciting until you add the word revival to the end of that.
Ooh. What are the icons?
0006. So if you're into your numbers, if that's important to you, I believe people that drink that caffeinated, fortified stuff in the green bottle, the lower the number, the better it is. So Evidently, this is the Buckfast of Electroglides. It's sat at West Coast at the minute. Absolutely, it's a stunning bike. And if you've not seen the Revival Electroglide, a friend of mine has one. I wound him up chronically over it because, I never cast jokes or have a bit of fun at somebody else's expense about the paint job. So it's designed, isn't it? It's meant to look like a bike from, I think it's based off the original Electroglide. And my favourite thing was to ask Big Keith when he was going to get the rest of his bike painted and had he had an accident and were they replacement parts. If you're listening and not looking and you've never seen it, it's an incredible blue. So the blue catches your eye to start off with, and it's got black denim. So you've got a two-tone tank. But the batwing fairing and the boxes it's not pure white, it's like an off-white. Cool colour, cool combination. The saddle, if you've ever seen pictures of like Elvis's bike, I believe they used to call it a buddy seat. So not quite a full-blown two-up seat, but you could scoot forwards and get somebody on the back if you needed to. 22,995, which if you think what the cost of that bike was when it came out, that is a good saving on that. 3,629 miles on the clock. Sat at West Coast. Really good looking example of that bike. Modern tech, historic sort of look, which for me tickles my fancy that way, not that way. Because I don't have the mechanical know-how to keep an old bike going. So when they started doing those sort of bikes, I was really quite pleased. I thought Harley were doing a cool thing. And you don't actually see a lot of them.
No, I saw one in the metal actually at Bike Fest this year. I can't remember the number, but I saw it from, God, this is going to sound like a love story in a bar, but I saw it from across a crowded car park and made my way over and said, hello, how are you doing? It was absolutely stunning. It really was. Seeing one of these in the metal, nowhere near the justice can be done on pictures. You have to see it. And it is a time warp bike. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
I know that High Command had a real eye for this bike and then realized there's only one seat on it. But it really is a beautiful, beautiful bike. And yes, just under 23,000 on the ticket. I mean, they came out at a hellish price. Didn't they? A hellish price. And 3,629 miles. It hasn't even had its first service yet.
It has. It's had its 1,000-mile service.
It's had its 1,000-mile, Hasn't had its first 5K service. It really is. And I mean, and 0006 as well. That really is. That's a low number. I see here it's got the heel shift.
Did we mention the top number? So the 0006 is impressive, but they're only out of 1,500 worldwide. So it is an exclusive bike. It is pretty cool to get your hands on. It does have a heel shift. I think they came with a heel shift.
Yeah, I have a heel shift, and I'm going to be honest, it confuses the bloody life out of me. I've tried to use it, but I just can't get it because it's no longer 1 down, 5 up. It's the other way. I can't even compute it. 1 down. Yeah, but if you use the heel shift,
5 down at the back.
Yeah,
so 1 down up front, 5 down at the back. Does your bike have 6 gears?
No, Ben. If you want to chop my dick off again, it only has 5 gears, but they're 5 really good gears.
So for you, it's 1 down at the front, 4 down at the back.
4 down at the back. Yeah, I just can't get it. But no, it's a lovely bike, lovely find, and presumably that is still for sale. But again, if you've been watching the pictures, the pictures have been up in front of you for the last couple of minutes. But if you're listening in, there'll be links in the description. But another 2 good finds, if I can say.
Yeah, I would speed up and get onto that one as well. So Fifey was sat on it at the weekend. So there is definite interest in that bike. And I think the only thing that slowed him down was the one seat. Obviously, his lovely missus wants to be on the back with him. And I haven't seen one. Have you? I don't know. You said you've only seen one in the flesh. Did it still have a solo seat on it? I've never seen one with a 2-up seat on it yet.
Yeah, I don't even know where you'd put the pegs on that. If you look at the way the exhausts are, there's a little down mount that comes out from underneath the oil cover, like the replica oil cover on the other side. but there'd be a bit of work. I think that would be a good old fashioned folded up coat on the fender, that one.
In terms of for the pillion pegs or for the seat we talk about there, sorry.
No, for the pillion pegs. I don't even know where the pillion pegs would go.
So actually, if you zoom in on the picture, the bracketry's already there. Harley are pretty good for that. So if you look at the side cover, where it slants down and cuts
I'm corrected. I'm looking at it now. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And the seat is an easy enough transition as well. There's like a plate that sits under it and then a monoshock.
Unless, of course, anyone,
not there.
In case any potential pillions are listening, it isn't an easy job. In fact, it's nearly impossible. Yeah. It's basically impossible. So you're allowing your partner to get this as a gift for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Knees in the breeze therapy without any navigators at the back.
Yeah. So there we go. Bike of the week, and the last of the week that was for 2025. It's a bit sad, really, isn't it?
Both of our brains are going to go into overload, and we'll have a new idea of how we're going to interact with people every week by the time we go to bed, I reckon.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm already thinking that the replacement for this starting next week will be a trip around the UK and Ireland, speaking to someone from Scotland, Wales, England, Ireland, and Northern Ireland. So we will get onto that. You will still have a podcast each week, but the week that was is the week that was no more, because the season is over. I hope you've enjoyed the season. I hope you've enjoyed the week that was. Again, as always, thank you so much to everyone that listens in.
Yeah.
Thank you to everyone that's watched it. The support has been fantastic. Certainly makes us want to carry on doing this. So if you have any ideas or would like to come on to the show, you can get in touch. You can email in via the website or just get in touch. You've probably got mine or Ben's number, or you know someone that's got mine or Ben's number. Otherwise, if you're just looking for my number, apparently it's on Guinness beer mats floating around Scotland. So just dial that number. Ben, it was great to have you again tonight. Thanks very much for coming on. It's not even as a guest anymore. It's now an expectation. So we'll be back here next week.
Yes.
But for now, thanks very much, and enjoy your week, and we'll catch you next week.
Looking forward to it. See you all soon.